Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 242 of the Co-op Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Blade Jr., and today I'm joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
Hello, everyone.
Yes, so for those of you that are wondering, first and foremost, I do apologize. We're starting late today. You know, it is daylight savings time over here in the U.S. I actually got in late because I came in a little bit late from church today. But yeah, we definitely wanted to record still because there's a lot to talk about. And I also want to address the elephant in the room, which is the fact that Mr. Gary Swaby, Mr. Max Muller, and Mr. Jake James Lugo will not be on today's show. It's actually Mother's Day in the UK, so Gary is out doing something for his mom today, which is great. We hope he has a good day. Max is working on some stuff, so he will not be on this week, but we are going to be recording a show soon, so stay tuned for that later this week. And Mr. Jake James Lugo, also very, very busy. He's done a lot of great interviews and stuff for this week, so make sure you check those out. And stay tuned because he will definitely be back next week, and he's actually recording something also this week, so stay tuned for that. So now that we did address those things, there's definitely a lot to talk about this week in terms of news stories. So we are going to get into that. But before we do that, we're going to let you know what we have been playing, because I know I've been playing a lot of stuff. But Dana, how about you start us off and let us know what you've been playing.
I've been playing a bunch of retro games. And by retro, I mean like 360. I know we recently had a conversation about, the older consoles and fans of those, and I still hold on to my 360, and I just went back to it playing a little bit of some Assassin's Creed. I don't know exactly how I fell into that. I was watching a bunch of random YouTube videos, and it was about Assassin's Creed, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to play some Assassin's Creed. And so I started doing that, really basic stuff. So it was that, and it was a little bit of some Disney and the Disney Infinity, which is something that I really don't understand why they won't bring back, but whatever. So I've been playing that, keeping it real simple. I've been like really busy a lot with writing and going to different events.
Well, I totally understand that because I will actually be at GDC within the next 2 weeks. So, I mean, you still won't be any interruption in the show because I should be available on Sunday still. But yeah, I know what you mean about the events because it's going to get very crazy for me here very soon. So we'll see. So that's pretty much all you've been playing then.
That was pretty much it. Because I've been stuck at premieres all day and like doing weird interviews with OJ. So that's what stuff was going on over here.
Well, actually, since you mentioned the premiere, you did see one film that I am aware of. Why don't you let us know about that film very, very briefly?
Okay, I was so excited to see this. You know the struggle of, getting me to see this movie. It's been a struggle, me dealing with Disney itself. I love Disney, yay Disney. But I went to go see A Wrinkle in Time, the Ava DuVernay directed movie. I saw it on March the 6th. And, oh God, it was the biggest disappointment of the year. And I can say of the year because it's only March. So far, it is one of the biggest disappointments. I looked really forward to this. It looked really magical in the commercials and the book. Yeah, I read it as a child a long time ago. So my memory wasn't really fresh. I wasn't going to reread it again just because I was just too busy. But I was really excited to see the movie. And it was the biggest disappointment. I can quickly say this. They rushed everything in the movie and in the film that I just didn't understand what the heck was going on. That's how quickly everything was. It was like, here's a character. Her father's been missing. Magically, here's a 50-foot tall Oprah Winfrey. Here's Mindy Kaling. Oh, look, it's Reese Witherspoon. Now we're going to journey off to go see the It. And I'm like, the whole time, they're not explaining what the It is. They're not explaining the extent of the, the relationship between the daughter and the father. And then you have the baby brother who I believe he was 6 at the time. So he's 6 years old now. So that means that the father, when he left, he was 2. So I'm just really confused as to, like, for me, I understand that it's his father and he wants to go find him, but that connection wouldn't be as solid. to him as, the daughter who was like around, I would say 12, 13. But it was just such a mess. And then they tried to switch it and they had like the 6-year-old kid. He played both, the sweet little boy, and then they turned him evil. I'm not spoiling anything because the movie's just that bad. But his acting was on par. Everybody's acting was incredible. I really loved it. But the story itself was really thrown together. I didn't feel that chemistry that, it's supposed to be a film about, the love and bonding of family. And I didn't feel that at all. And Oprah didn't really have nothing to say. She was just 50 feet tall and it was kind of a little distracting. And then even when she shrunk down to size, like normal size, it was still a little weird because she didn't really say anything. She just gave a lot of Oprah-isms. And Mindy Kaling, her entire thing was she was speaking in other people's words. So it was like, today was a good day, Ice Cube. So every quote that she said, it was in other people's words. So I just thought that it could have been something magical, but they just ruined it by rushing everything. The special effects were decent. I was expecting something on Avatar level, but it was not that Avatar thing. It was like a basic, special effects that you can find on, I don't know, any Netflix movie. So it was a real disappointment for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a disappointment. That's rather unfortunate, but pretty sure it will still do well at the box office because a lot of movies that are disappointments, people still want to see them.
It's number 2, and I'm really happy of that. They changed the lead character. Was originally supposed to be a Caucasian girl, and they made her an African. They made her mixed. She's the daughter of Chris Pine and Gugu. I can't pronounce the woman's last name, but she's one of the actresses, and so she's mixed race, and it does a lot with identity and finding out who you are, and it celebrates female empowerment. But the thing for me was that they keep bashing you over the head with it, instead of just showing the movie for what it is. I don't have to keep, hearing about you're strong female and you're great empowerment and you're diverse and we can do this. Just show me. Don't tell me everything. So it suffered a lot with that as well. And that all has to do with the writing. The writing was just atrocious. The acting was great. The writing was horrible.
Well, I'll give a shout out to Disney. I guess they all can't make excellent films, but I mean, I am glad that Ava actually, her movies still made some money, so that's good for her. We'll see what happens beyond this. But thank you for letting us know how it is, because I wasn't intending on seeing the movie, and I still don't intend to see it now. So
cold-blooded.
All right, so I've been playing a lot of games this week. I'm gonna briefly talk about a few of these. I've been playing this game called Somewhere. It's a mobile game. It's on iOS, and I believe it's coming to Android soon. It's a very weird game to play and write a review for, but I am going to have a review for it. Basically, it's about a game where it's, I guess you could call it espionage thriller, where basically the whole game is you having text messages back and forth with somebody who is in trouble, trying to escape a conspiracy. And literally, that's all it is. It is a text-based game where, you start the game, you get text messages from this random woman who, she had a friend that was killed because they uncovered some huge mystery involving the government, involving politics. So it's a very interesting game. As far as the story is concerned, it's very realistic because if an incident happens with the character, like she says, oh, well, I'm confused on where I should go. She'll ask you for where she should go, and then she'll also ask you for advice on directions. And then what the devs did is they connected the game to also be usable on Google Apps. So she will tell you she's at this location. What is a way that I can go in which I can't get caught? And then there will be a link that appears. You click on that link, and it goes right to where she's at. Like if she's somewhere in Berlin, you'll see exactly at the address that she's at on Google Maps, and then you'll have to tell her, well, what is the best route of which you should take. So interesting concept from that standpoint. But again, like when she tells you that, oh, I'll contact you back when I get to a safe place, like it will literally be like hours or even a day until you'll once again get a response. So they try to make it very much real time in terms of you waiting, so on and so forth. Interesting game, but I will say this, definitely not for everybody. Now, for those that like texting a lot, maybe they will be into this because it is literally back and forth where she will ask you a question and then you have choices that you can make, click on, you should do this, you should do that, so on and so forth. And the game can end at any point in time based on the decisions, because I had a couple of times where I told her to do something and the people found her and killed her. And then they will ask me, do you want to restart from that area or do you want to go back to the very beginning? So it does offer a couple of different things in there. But again, it's an independent developer, mainly a text-based game. So it's not a game for every single person out there. But I mean, if you like texting, you like using your phone regularly, you may enjoy this to pass some time by. But again, very, very different type of game. But I will have something to say about that game this week, so you can stay tuned for that. Outside of that, I did also play another game called Frantic, which is a party game on PlayStation 4. This is a game where it's just like a game show type of scenario with a lot of different animals that are in it as well. And you're basically trying to compete to win a certain number of crowns and win the game. Now, as with most of these game show type of things, there is some type of hook in it that makes it a little bit different. They do have instances where you can sabotage the other person and cheat while you're playing the game, which I find to be very funny because it's a lot of the comical mischief. Any of the stuff you see in cartoons, this is what this game has, because all the characters are, cartoonish. The whole style of the thing is like a cartoon that you would watch on TV. So, I mean, it's a fun party game. The only complaint that I have, it does use PlayLink, and I did review a lot of the PlayLink games on the site before, such as Hidden Agenda, which in my opinion is still the best PlayLink game that they have ever released. But this particular game, the only drawback to it is that you have to use your mobile phone. You cannot use the regular PlayStation 4 controller to play the game. You have to use a mobile phone. I think that's a problem because even with Hidden Agenda, I was able to play that game with the regular controller also. So that's the only complaint I have with the game, because if somebody wanted to use the PS4 controller, well, they can't do that. I mean, you can use it to look at the different options in the menus, but you can't use it to actually play the game. So that's a drawback. But again, if you like party games, I think that you'll definitely want to check this out. It all depends on your taste of games. It's not, again, this is not a game for everybody. Much like with Somewhere, both of these games are not something that's designed for every type of person out there. It's different people that, the target audience that they're going after. But still pretty good games for what they are. And last, but certainly not least, the one game that I did play over the last couple of days, I actually played and completed it last night. And by far, I think this is going to be one of the games that I will remember as the year goes on. And I'm hoping that they release every episode this year. We'll see. It's this game called The Council. All right. This is a game, Focus. I believe it's Focus Interactive is the name of the company. But yeah, The Council pretty much is a narrative-based adventure game, similar to like what you see with the Telltale games, but it's set in a different time period. There are a lot of famous, I guess you could say iconic famous characters. You have people like George Washington, Napoleon Bonaparte that are also in this game. And basically it's a story about this secret society called the Golden Order. You basically play there's a male character who has a son. He goes to this island and he's searching for his mother that disappears. So basically, just like in Telltale games, you have to have a lot of different conversations with a lot of different people and try to figure out what their personality is and what their vulnerabilities are and use that against them as you play the game. They have a skill-based system. They have 3 different classes you can choose from. So, I mean, it's a lot to this game. What I essentially played last night was episode 1 that spanned across 4 different acts. And basically, as you are playing this game, you're able to walk around the island in certain aspects as well, but then you have the conversations with people. You can collect items. You can study the environment as well as see a lot of the different things that are going on within the actual game itself. But if I had to describe it right now, I would say, like, if you're someone that's into like mystery games, detective type of stuff, this is a game you absolutely positively need to play 100%. And one thing that is different about this game, in comparison to the Telltale games, is that it looks absolutely fantastic. Graphically, this game looks absolutely amazing. In my opinion, from what I played on PS4, it looks awesome. I can only imagine it looks better on PC. But the thing about it is that it doesn't really have a lot of the issues that you see with the Telltale games, certain graphical hiccups. I mean, there was one encounter that I did have where there was a dialogue box that kept popping up over and over again. And I'm pretty sure stuff like that will be patched out, but it doesn't have the same performance issues that I've seen with a lot of the Telltale games because of the engine that they use. So that's one big difference. Again, though, because it is episodic, a lot of people may opt for all 5 episodes to be released and then play it, which is totally fine. But I definitely will say right now, if you like the Telltale games and you're looking for something that is a little bit more different and it really utilizes the system a lot better, you need to check out this game like ASAP. I will have a review for it later this week because the embargo lifts on the 13th. You're going to see a lot of people review this game, and the reviews may be very positive. I don't really think it's going to be negative because I haven't seen anything negative in this game aside from the glitch that I mentioned. But I'm telling you right now, if you like detective stories, if you like these type of adventure games, you definitely need to check this out. And also, if you like history, because a lot of the story, they try to put actual historical figures in it. Like I said, George Washington is in it. Napoleon is in it. You have conversations with them, and you also try to align yourself with them also. So it's a very interesting concept. But I think in terms of it being something different, if you like Telltale games, you owe it to yourself to give this game a try, and you may be surprised with just how good the narrative is. The one last thing I will add about this game, they do have some branching things within the storyline that can happen, because I did see that also when I played last night. So it does appear that it does have a lot of those branching elements that the Telltale games has, but I don't really know how different the outcome will be for those yet, because again, we've only played 1 episode. So we have to see what happens. But definitely stay tuned for my review later this week, because I have a lot to say on this game, all positive. But like I said, if you like these types of games, this is a game you absolutely must play. Like, I mean, as soon as possible. But that's just my opinion. And I believe that concludes our, what we've been playing for this week. So we'll go ahead and jump right into the main topics for today.
Your games sound interesting, though. They sound real fun. They sound creative and can't speak, innovative.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they are. I mean, like I said, somewhere I thought that was an interesting game, but I don't really think it's for everybody. But I mean, I still, all the games I played this week were fantastic in my opinion. They're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but again, the council is really, really good. I don't, I mean, normally when I play a Telltale game, I think it's great. This game, though, I don't know. It just feels like, like I said, I'm not going to say this is competition for Telltale, but I mean, they take a look at this. They're going to be like, maybe we need to make some changes to how we do our games, because they're doing some very interesting stuff in this game. So something to consider. But again, let's get back on the topics for this week. First and foremost, one story I did want to talk about from this week. Obviously we found out that Sony officially announced that Days Gone will not be coming out until 2019. Now, one thing I want to say about this story real quickly is that Days Gone was never officially supposed to come out in 2018. I don't think that Sony ever said it was coming out in 2018. The assumption was that it was coming in 2018 because we figured that was the timeline, that they were adding up, because we know that Days Gone and Spider-Man are still 2 games that were supposed to be coming out this year. Now, as far as Spider-Man is concerned, I do firmly believe that game is coming out this year. But with Days Gone being delayed, I think it's totally fine. If it comes out early 2019, that's great. Give the game as much time as needed so that the devs can make it better, I say. But Dana, how did you feel about this game getting delayed?
I'm not surprised by delays anymore. You already know that I hate when they announce something way in advance. They just shouldn't do that at all. They should announce the release date, maybe the month they plan on releasing something. That's just me. You always have to take precautions. Things happen. I'm a type of person who likes when they take their time. If something's not working, if something's buggy, then work it all out. I wish that they gave information explaining why it was delayed. Maybe that they realized the game really wasn't that great. Maybe it didn't play well. I don't know. But again, I have no problems with games being delayed. I just have problems when they announce things in advance. So I hope they figure out and fix all the bugs or whatever problems that they're having. And maybe let's not jump the gun and try to be all excited and announce things when it's not ready.
Hey, well, I fully understand exactly what you're saying. I do agree to an extent. Also, I do believe that well, let's use another game for example, Death Stranding. I feel that game, that's another example of a game that was announced way too soon, because there's no way in hell I can see that game coming out at any time soon.
But here's the thing that I liked about Death Stranding. There's no problem with announcing a game. They never announced the release date. And they keep evading that when you ask them, is it this year or next year? Can we get something? So for me, I'm okay with that. I'm cool with updates. That way you always keep the game fresh in someone's mind. Because if you was to announce Death Stranding, what was it, in 2017, right? So you announced 2017. So whenever we get the game, either it's this year or even next year, always give a little, some feedback or some type of information to let us know, so that it's fresh in our mind. So that we don't say, oh yeah, remember that game back in yesteryear, and then you just forget about it. Like, remember Shimmy 3?
Oh, you mean Shenmue 3?
Yeah, Shenmue 3. When they announced it, I was like, yeah, excited. And then, as the time just kept going and going, I forgot about it. And then when they did that little crappy trailer that they released, it was, for me, it was just over by then. But it was something that because they didn't keep that constant update, I just stored it away and forgot about it. And then when that random trailer came in, I was like, wait, what? And then I had to go back and, oh yeah, that game. And then saw the trailer, was like, oh God. So just keep us updated. You don't have to release announcement dates of when it's going to release.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I will say, in the case of Death Stranding, I am hopeful that eventually we will see gameplay. I don't want to see. I'm tired of seeing these videos. The cinematics. I mean, it looks great, whatever. I don't understand all the stuff that's going on, but I need to see some gameplay at some point to know that the game is even in development. Because at this point, it looks like I'm watching a movie. And this is the trailer. This is parts from the trailer taken out to give you a preview of the film. So we'll see what happens with that. But in going to Days Gone, I'm totally fine with the delay. Like I said, it was a lot of speculation that it was coming out this year. And I will admit that I was another person that figured, oh, yeah, it's coming out 2018. I figured that's what Sony was going to do. But at the same time, when I saw that the development of the game started around 2015 or early 2016, I said, well, there's no way in hell that game is coming out at any point that soon. So, I mean, 2019 is reasonable. We still don't have a release date for The Last of Us also. So I'm assuming, yeah, that all of this stuff is coming much, much later, which is totally fine. The devs need to take as much time as needed to make the game fantastic. So I'm totally fine with that. Now, as for what you said about the release dates, with all that said, shifting to Microsoft, I fully believe, and I really do believe this, at E3 2018, there is no way in hell we will not get a trailer for Halo 6. And that may be a situation where they announce it's coming out in 2019. So we'll see about that. But it's not because if you look at the Xbox lineup right now, we have Sea of Thieves coming out. Obviously, that'll be out this month. We also have State of Decay 2, which we will get into here shortly, which is also coming out in May. So Crackdown, I haven't heard nothing about Crackdown 3. No news, nothing. So maybe they'll talk about that at E3. But again, I think Halo 6 that will get mentioned. There will be some type of teaser trailer or something at E3. There's no way that there isn't, because they have to show people that actually invested in the Xbox One X, oh, we got more games coming for you guys, so don't worry. But that's just my thought.
Nice. Your thoughts are very good. I agree with that thought.
Yeah.
Second it.
Okay. Absolutely. All right. So
we did of the new, remember the Xbox controller. No updates on actual games, but we got that controller no one asked for. The most uncomfortable controller, but no games to play with the controller. Yay!
Wait, you talking about the Xbox One X?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with the controller. The games, I definitely, the games is where it's at. But we'll see. We'll see. To be determined. I'll just say that much right now. So, since we already started talking about Xbox, let's go ahead and let's address it. As I mentioned, State of Decay 2 is coming out May 22nd. So I don't really know if you played the original State of Decay, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this finally having a release date.
I am feeling nothing because it's just a date. So unless you give me, actual updates and you can prove to me that you can keep your date, then I'm excited. Like, I'm excited that the game is coming. When we'll get the game, again, we'll never know, but I'm excited it's coming and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I agree. So I will say this, I did get a chance to play some of the first game. Thought the game was okay. Obviously, they had a lot of issues. I guess the right word to use is that it felt like a little janky with the controls, the way it looked. It wasn't the best looking game at all. But it was still decent. It was still playable. It was still a pretty good experience. And again, this is an indie developer that's working on this. So obviously, there was a 25-minute gameplay trailer that dropped out this week of the game. And I could say it definitely looks a lot better. Now, the fact that they had that demo running on PC and it wasn't on Xbox One, I am concerned about that because obviously PC, every game looks better on PC most of the time. So I don't really know why they didn't show it on Xbox One. But from what I saw, the game looks, it looks better than the first game. I will say that. It looks a lot more polished in those regards. But I'm glad it's coming out May 22nd. To me, the biggest thing about this news was that they announced the game is only going to be $29.99. So that right there, to me, is a very attractive thing right there. Now, I know some people will say, well, it's cheap. That probably is a sign that the game is not going to be as good as people think. Well, I would tell them, go back and look at Cuphead. That's a game that was $19.99, came out, and one of the most talked about games last year. So I wouldn't believe any of that about it not being of a high quality because of the price. I think the game is still going to be fun. I did see they have the 4-player co-op. That is a feature that people have been asking for them to have ever since the first game. So I personally think the game is going to do very well, especially at that price point. And then you also add in the fact that, the $29.99 is attractive. It's also going to be on Game Pass. So you don't even have to spend $29.99 to play this game. Just pay $10 for Game Pass, try it out, or try out a free trial of Game Pass, and you're good to go. So I think either way, Microsoft definitely is putting themselves in a good position that this game has a chance to do well. So, I don't have a problem with it. Just my opinion, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's very Microsoft is something that right now they didn't see any microtransactions, so that's a good thing. The game is going to take place 15 months after the first game. So, that's good, which means we're not rehashing anything with the plague. That is something that I can't stand. I don't like backstories. I like stuff, just give it. I already know what it is. Give it to me. So I like that part. You can get the loot now is, it's more fitting to the location. So you don't have to run around and everything. So you're able to collect, say, the medical supplies easier. So for me, that's better. So I think that they improved, and I think that they listened to the community. So that the game itself is something that I'm very excited about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I want to give a special shout out to J-Dub City 16. Got a chance to meet him at PSX, but he had a little poll going. He asked the question he asked on Twitter when they announced this was, so are people, if you had a chance between playing this or Days Gone, which would you choose? And the majority of people that I saw said Days Gone. And I am one of those people that also said Days Gone. Now, with that said, that don't mean I'm not going to play this. I definitely will play it. You know, because this game looks fun. I mean, it does offer something, but you know, Days Gone, I go back to the trailers I've seen of that game, and I'm like, yeah, the game looks fantastic. And this is from the same studio that made Siphon Filter. Oh, there's no way in hell I won't play this game. But still, State of Decay is going to be a good game, I think. You know, again, they're setting themselves up to be in a very good position with the sales. Again, very, very reasonable price point as well. Not $59.99, $29.99, so half the price. They're going to continue to have updates. They may even have expansions for this also, because I know they mentioned that on their stream that they are thinking about having other stuff as well. So I definitely am going to give it a shot. Definitely looking forward to it, and we'll see how it stacks up when it comes out in May. Yeah. So let me see. Anything else to add on State of Decay 2 before we move on?
No, just don't screw it up. It already sounds good. Don't screw it up.
Uh-oh. All right.
Just wait at this point.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so let's address this Nintendo Direct that went down on Friday. I know that you were very excited for this Direct, so I have a couple of things to say on this Direct, but I'm going to give the mic over to you first because you think a lot of us didn't like the Direct, so feel free to let me know what you thought about the Direct first.
I am the only person who kind of enjoyed it. Was it the best? No. Were we getting like a whole bunch of stuff? Yes and no. But for me, I was content. It was a lot of ports, indeed, but I like my ports. I don't have any problem with the ports. So for me, it was like good. First, I know they kicked it off with Nintendo 3DS and they did the Warfare Gold, that there are 300 micro games to enjoy. So it's going to be the biggest in the series, and that'll launch on August 3rd. Again, why are we complaining? More stuff in the game. Yay. The Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. You got it's a lot of stuff with the Mii characters. And there's going to be a demo on May 10th. That was kind of like forgettable. But the main thing that I was excited about was Mario and Luigi. So you get to do the whole browser thing. I said browser. I meant Bowser. So you get to switch between Bowser and Mario and Luigi. And you also get a Bowser Jr., which is like a new story. So that was something I was excited about. Detective Pikachu looks awful, but I don't know if you guys saw like the American version. I know there was the Japanese trailer, but then in the American trailer, they gave Pikachu like the voice of a 50-year-old man, like a hardened alcoholic, depressed with his life and on like the verge of suicide is what he sounded like to me. So just by the voice alone, I was already not caring about this game. But for those who like detective stuff and Pikachu and Pokemon, good for you. I'm not feeling it at all. I do like the amiibo that they had. That was just about it. The Luigi Mansion, I'm excited about. So, yay. The Kirby Stars Allies, again, I like Kirby, so I was excited about that. And you get to bring King Dedede and Meta Knight and Bandita and everybody else on your journey, and that there will be more Dream friends in the future. And I know that they announced Rick, Kine, Ko, Marks, and Gooey that are like the first friends that'll be available, and I think that's coming out in the end of this month. So that looked fine. Octopath Traveler. I know they introduced 2 new characters, which I know Tressa the Merchant, who can get items from people, and Alphine, who can heal those who are suffering. So I was excited about that part. That looked all right. The Dark Souls remastered and the amiibos, that was yummy. I have no problems there with that. Of course, Mario Tennis Aces. Somehow I really like the tennis games. Sorry, I'm half dead. All right. So I was excited about that announcement. I know that they announced Peach, Daisy, Boo, Bowser Jr., Donkey Kong, Chains, Chomp, Yoshi, I want to say Toadette, Toad, and I think I'm missing one more. Rosalina, I think. Those are confirmed. So I like that. They changed some things. If your racket takes 3 hits if your racket takes 3 hits, your racket breaks and you automatically lose. You can block certain shots to protect your racket. The Joy-Con, it seems like it's going to be at first it looked a little confusing, but it reminded me of the Wii U, but it's somehow it works. I like that. The Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which comes out on the 13th of July. I know that they added some Super Mario Odyssey levels to the treasure tracker, such as New Donk City. So that was good. You can share the Joy-Cons. There's local co-op play, and there's also a 3DS version coming soon. We didn't hear much about Undertale. There was no release date, but they did show a trailer, which looked really nice. Crash Bandicoot Trilogy. Again, I'm excited for that one. So that's for the Switch. And that's coming July 10th. Little Nightmares, I thought was visually very beautiful. It reminded me something of a Belicio, of a Guillermo del Toro type of design. I really like that. I know there's 2 separate stories and that they're including all of the past DLC. And I know that's releasing on May 18th. So I like that. I was really shocked to see South Park in there. That one really threw me. I didn't expect that. But yay, get those games. And then these are games that people liked. So I'm all for it. And that comes out on April 24th. And it comes with the first 2 DLCs. And the 3rd DLC will be available this year. And I know all of the DLCs will be available for purchase or if you do the season pass. So again, that was great. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, if you like Hyrule Warriors, that comes out May 18th. Splatoon, I will never understand the excitement of this game, but I have watched children completely lose it, and whatever makes them happy, good for them. It's coming in late April. And there's 100 new pieces of gear, and there's 3 new stages, and they changed the ranking. It's like rank X, which is higher than a rank S+. There's the Octo expansion that's coming soon. You'll also get to play as Agent 8. There are 8 test facilities you get to explore. There's new stories. There's new expansions, and there's coming summer 2018, and it's only $20, so good for you. And then the big one, it was like, yay, we're getting a new Smash Brothers for Nintendo Switch, and it's new. It's not a port. It's not, something from the past. It's all brand new, and I am very excited for that one, and I know that we're getting the Inklings. So that really was like the icing on the cake. I'm still upset, very upset, that we're not getting a No Mercy remastered edition. I'm still pulling for that. I want this in my lifetime. People need to experience that beautiful, great game once again. So to me, it was good. And it was only 30 minutes. So it wasn't like anything dragged out. It wasn't like a full thing. I like what they announced. And then there's more coming on E3. I think that they did a good job with, holding people over until June. So I'm excited for it. So I know everybody is tearing it apart. Screw you. I loved it.
So allow me to start off by saying, I know you said No Mercy is what you want next. Perhaps that will happen in another lifetime. I don't think it's going to happen in this lifetime, unfortunately. But, anything is possible. So we'll see what happens.
We need to start a campaign or a GoFundMe, something. I need.
Yeah,
I'm serious. I'm like dead serious. Dedicate my life to a remastered No Mercy.
we'll just need to make sure that 2K does not be the one to release this remaster, because it will be trash if they are the ones that are going to release it.
THQ came back just so they can do this game. It's like it's a sign from above.
Hey, we'll see.
For a reason. There's a reason why you come up again. You rise out of the ashes of bankruptcy and non-existence, so you can make this game for me.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what they got planned. As for the rest of the direct, obviously, I believe the Super Smash Brothers was the biggest announcement. I've saw a lot of reaction videos online with people losing their mind because it got announced for Switch. The thing is that we knew this was coming because, I mean, Nintendo has already. This was one of the other games people have been waiting for ever since the Switch came out. When is Smash coming to Switch?
Game. That's the thing. We didn't know it was going to be new.
Well, the thing about that is, you know, there's still more information we need to figure out about this game.
Who cares? It's coming. That's all we need to know. It's new, and it's coming.
Well, hey, listen. They said they have said it's new. I still need to see some stuff to know that it's actually new. All we saw was that video, and for all we know, this could still be just like with last year with Mario Kart 8. This was a re-release of the Wii U version of the game with all the DLC, all the premium content. That's all it was. This here could be a new game, and I fully believe it is new, but it could also be just the Wii U version with all the DLC, and then they add additional characters to it.
No, don't pop the bubble, man.
Hey, no, I just want to clarify. I hope it is new. I hope it's all new. I just want to see some footage, see some stuff on this to get my confirmation. But I do believe it is new when you think about the timeline of when the last game was released on Wii U. So it absolutely can be new, but we need to get more information. And obviously, I think I don't really, not so much a release date. They said 2018. That's fine. I don't care about that. I just want to see more on the game, and we'll definitely see more by E3. But I think that was the biggest announcement that they had. A lot of the other ports, I also was surprised about the South Park thing because I definitely didn't see that coming to Switch, although it is perfect for that type of game because I did play it on PlayStation 4. That is an excellent game for the Switch. Somebody can play on the go. So that was a great pickup for them to do that. I know that our very good friend Tony Polanco is looking forward to Octopath Traveler. The game looks interesting. I mean, this is something new for Square Enix, a new franchise, hopefully. So for those that are interested, hey, I hope the game is going to be great and it does deliver. And again, that's coming out in July. Normally, every year, what we have noticed the trend is that certain games don't come out until closer to the fall and maybe in the beginning of the year and not so much the summertime. So this is great for the summertime release because it'll keep people busy during the summer. So that's great. Let me think of what else. The game that I was glad to see was obviously the Toad game, Captain Toad. And I know that again is a port of the Wii U version, but they added a couple of new levels in there, a couple of new stuff in there. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to that Mario Aces game. That is a game I saw people hating on online for some reason. And I will say I'm not a huge tennis fan, but again, I looked at that game. I said, I definitely could play that and get into that. So that's something I'm looking forward to as well. So I also agree for the most part that I thought the Direct was good. I know a lot of stuff, some stuff is some ports. I don't have a problem with that. Nintendo needed to announce some things, though, obviously, because people were expecting them to announce some stuff. Because no one, when the year started, all the news coming out, all the hate was like, well, Nintendo hasn't announced anything. They don't have anything coming for Switch. They blew their load in 2017 with Zelda and Mario. But we already knew, come on now, they got other stuff coming. Obviously, you want to spread that news out. And I'm pretty sure at E3, they'll have a lot more bigger announcements to make at that time. Because, just like they did last year when they surprised us with all the announcements they had at that time. So I trust that they know what they're doing with the Switch. They have some stuff coming. Now, as in regards to Pokemon and Metroid Prime 4, I have absolutely no idea when those games are coming out. We know that they're in development because they announced it at E3 last year, but I have no idea when that stuff is coming out. So I can't say it's coming out this year. Although I'm pretty confident to say that I know Metroid Prime ain't coming out this year because they just started development on that game last year. But Pokemon, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But for what it's worth, I thought the Direct was fine. There wasn't really any surprises for me because I knew Smash Brothers was going to come at some point to Switch. But again, I still think it was a good show. I don't think it was bad in any way, shape, or form. So the people who complained about it, I don't really understand that because, you know.
You need patience. Patience.
Yeah.
See, so you, because other companies and the other consoles, they jump up and they announce everything right away. And then we get 4 years for it. With them, you know, they announce it, you know, more, you know, everything is spread out nicely. They don't jump up right away. Although they did shoot themselves in the foot with that whole Mega Man thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, you know, they had to make a couple of announcements. You know, like I said, Super Smash Bros. That was the huge one that I saw got the biggest reaction. So glad they finally made the announcement. And now I'm curious to see what they have planned for E3 because they're going to save a lot of their big guns for that show. So we'll see. But overall, I don't really have anything critical to say about Nintendo. Yeah, we could talk about, find little things to complain about here or there. But for the most part, it is what it is, you know. And like I said, last year was a huge year for them because Zelda came out and Mario came out. Both of those games very well received, won a lot of awards. So you can't hate on that. And they also, the Switch is selling extremely well also. So we can't really hate on Nintendo at the moment. You can say, well, I still want to know where this Pokemon game is at, so on and so forth. But we have to give them time to actually finish this stuff. So we'll see. Just stay tuned. And, you know, like I said, if you picked up a Switch already, you have some stuff to keep you busy. If none of those games are good enough for you, then maybe you may have to wait a little bit longer. I mean, but honestly, you know, chances are if you already purchased a Switch, that's because of maybe Zelda, because of maybe Mario, or maybe even Bayonetta. I don't know. But more games are coming. That's all you need to know. So just be patient and wait and see what Nintendo has planned.
And there's always Detective Pikachu to hold you over.
Oh no! Now that game. Now listen, I have to say that game does look trash. So listen, I don't want any Pokemon fans coming after me for saying that. But yeah, nah, man. I definitely would like to investigate why Nintendo thought it was a good idea to release that game. But that's a whole nother
movie. Remember the movie? It's a tie-in.
That's what it is. Okay.
Right. So, Detective Pikachu. Jesus.
Yeah, I detected that's going to disappoint a lot of people, but that's just my opinion. All right, so that's it for Nintendo. We're going to move into now some other topics. Dana, I believe you had some things you wanted to bring up in terms of stuff that has happened in entertainment this week. So go ahead, the mic is yours.
Oh, the mic is mine. Chicka, mic drop. Okay, so if you guys haven't heard already, Black Panther is exceeding all expectations. And just Saturday, it has crossed the $1 billion mark. It made $1 billion worldwide. So much success and congratulations to all of them. A Wrinkle in Time is number 2 at the box. It's actually number 1 at the box office. Despite the $1 billion thing, it got knocked off. So it's at number 2, Black Panther. But this means that we have 2 movies directed by African-American directors at the number 1 and number 2 spot. So maybe we get more diversity in the coming months and years, and yay. So good for them on that aspect. If you haven't heard the controversy with the whole Me Too movement thing, it has now affected Stranger Things. Stranger Things creator and showrunners Matt and Ross Duffer, or the Duffer Boys, say that they are deeply upset about a crew member's allegation of verbal abuse, while Netflix has found no wrongdoing on the set. In a statement they issued, that they are deeply upset when someone felt uncomfortable on our set due to the high-stress nature of the production. Tempers occasionally get frayed, and for that we apologize. However, we think it is important not to mischaracterize our set. We believe strongly in treating everyone fairly, regardless of gender, orientation, race, religion, or anything else. We remain totally committed to providing a safe and collaborative working environment for everyone on our productions. And Netflix has weighed in, saying that we looked into the concern that was raised, and we heard the allegations on Thursday, and we found no atmosphere on set to us, and we know it is the Duff Brothers as well. So what happened was this week, a crew member, Peyton Brown, wrote that she would not be returning to the set to work on season 3 of the series because of the alleged verbal abuse towards some of the women on the set. She stated that I personally witnessed 2 men in high positions of power on the set seek out and verbally abuse multiple women. I promised myself that if I were ever in the situation to say something, that I would. I have 1.5 thousand followers who can hear me say this. Time's up. She later confirmed to a commenter that the men were the Duff Boys. She later deleted the post, though, but a screenshot was captured and was sent all around, and that's where it started, the whole allegations and the investigations. There's no physical abuse. There's nothing sexual. It was just, them getting frustrated and yelling at the crew. So that seems to be fine. She said she's not doing season 3. And I'm pretty sure the show will survive without the random crew member. In weird news, we are possibly getting a Hulk Hogan movie. So the movie is not a biopic about his life. It is about the whole Gawker situation. Remember when he sued Gawker with Peter Thiel, who was basically the financier, who was giving him all this money in order to sue Gawker about the whole that sex tape leak with him and his best friend. And so the movie, which they're trying to create either a movie or a TV series, it's going to be about that incident in his life and also the downfall of Gawker. So they're shopping it around right now to see who's going to buy it, who's interested in it, if anyone cares about it. So that is being written and, coming together. My whole thing is I wonder who's going to play Hulk Hogan. I can't see anyone playing Hogan but Hogan. So that would be interesting. I've literally no one I can think of to be Hogan. So look forward to that. And I guess, the end of the year, there'll be more information about it. New Mutants, the new X-Men movie, is being delayed from April 13th to February 14th. 2009. So we're getting a whole year and 1 month is being delayed. That's pretty, heartbreaking for me because I saw the trailer and it's one of those psychological thrillers. It's not, it doesn't look like any of the other X-Men movies that we got. This seems to be very psychological. It's a thriller, maybe a murder mystery. Something is going down and we don't know. However, what they're saying is that it's been delayed because they want to add a new character and they want to do a lot of more reshoots, which kind of makes me question, was it good in the first place if you're going to delay it that long? So, however, they did say that one of the mutants that they're adding will be Warlock, who is a shape-shifting alien who was a part of the core team in the comics. If you read any of the comics, you're familiar with Warlock. So they're going to add Warlock. Director Patty Jenkins is directing too. And she confirmed that Kristen Wiig will play the villain Cheetah in the upcoming sequel. And she's the most well-known villain of that whole canon, they're saying. And that they're very happy. They're working on the script. Patty Jenkins is going to be a co-writer. So they're very excited for what Kristen is going to bring to the project. And I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen as well. If anyone watches TNT, The Librarians has been canceled after 3 seasons, so that's no more. We are getting a Sabrina the Teenage Witch series that's going to be on Netflix, and they cast Bronson Pinchot, who was the guy from Perfect Strangers. He is going to be in a reoccurring role, and he'll play George Hawthorne, the principal of Baxter High. So he's the guy, if you ever watch the TV series with Melissa Joan Hart, that's always bantering back and forth with Sabrina. Then they said, even though it's a Netflix show, they are trying to work out a way they can do crossover episodes with Riverdale, which belongs on the CW. And if you ever read the comics, they interacted a lot. It was Riverdale, Josie and the Pussycats, which they have honorees at Riverdale, and they're trying to add Sabrina. So they're going to see what they can do with that. Now, there's also another show. It's called The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. It's a comic book series, and they're thinking, even though the first show that I said previously is going to be on Netflix is based on that comic book, they're working on doing another series. So that should be interesting. There's now a word on if it's animated or not, or it's going to be live action. So they're working on that. If you're any fan of Grey's Anatomy, then two regulars, Jessica Capshaw, who plays Dr. Arizona, and Sarah Drew, April Kepner, they are leaving the show. They've been on there since one was after season 14. The other one has been on the show since season 9. So they're leaving. If you care at all about that. We're getting also a Sopranos movie. We're getting a prequel. So it's going to be about the father. It'll take place in the 60s. It's called The Many Saints of Newark, and it's going to be headed up by Warner Brothers. They're currently writing the script. No one has been signed yet, but they said that the film is set in the area of Newark riots in the 1960s, and that some of the characters from the TV show will appear in the movie, but we don't know which one. Obviously, we're not getting James Gandolfini because rest in peace to him. He's dead. If you didn't know, Jon Favreau was announced as one of the executive producers for an upcoming live-action Star Wars series that's going to air on the Disney streaming network that's coming out later this year. Many people are very angry about this choice. They're upset that he's a man that's going to be executive producing this. They want it to be, women based, and they're very upset that the color of his skin, that he is a white man, and they're saying that this is going to lack diversity in the franchise. And they wouldn't mind if it was, some African Americans, maybe some Asians, and some more women. But people are very upset that Favreau is the one who is going to make this series come to life. But we're still getting the series either way. It's going to release in 2019. There's no casting at all, no announcements, but they just announced that he will be a part of it. So that is all in entertainment news.
Sounds good. Yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff to talk about. I just want to make one quick comment before we move away from entertainment. We will be having a podcast to talk about Jessica Jones season 2, but I just want to say right now, I was very disappointed with that overall season. And like I said, we are going to we'll say what?
It was horrible.
Yeah, we will talk about it in length, soon. So stay tuned for that show in the future. But yeah, I think the general consensus is a lot of people complained about it. So
it was bad. It was real bad. It was like Defenders level bad.
Well, I just still think it was better than the Defenders, but not by that much.
Okay, it's fine. Slightly better than the Defenders, but no. See, I think it was just as bad as the Defenders, but of course better than Iron Fist.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, Iron Fist is definitely the worst show, without a doubt. But like I said, well, go ahead.
No, and really quickly, they are canceling season 2 of the Defenders.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. They should cancel Iron Fist season 2 also, in my opinion, but that's all. It's too late to do that. So, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But like I said, I don't want to go too much off topic. We will talk about that on a future podcast, so stay tuned for that. Because yes. I believe that Gary also saw it. He has a lot to say about it as well. So stay tuned.
Oh, let me just. It was garbage, man. I didn't like it any much. No, man. No, not.
Yeah.
There you go.
He'll have some complaints after he hears this. All right. So we have 3 more topics to really dive into. First and foremost, we're going to talk about another announcement that happened this week. I guess this went a little under the radar, not really too far under the radar, because this announcement happened after Call of Duty Black Ops 4 got announced, and that is that we're going to be getting The Division 2. Ubisoft announced that the game is currently in development, and they will have more news on it at E3 2018. So I'm going to ask you, Dana, are you excited for The Division 2, or you don't care about this game at all?
Why can't we get Battlefield? Why is this so hard in life just to get us Battlefield? The Division 2, oh God, I'm like, I don't really feel anything. When they announced it, it was like, okay, that's good. I'm good for you. But I'm not that excited. I know it was only 2 years ago, but it kind of felt like it was longer than that, maybe for me, that the first game came out. I like how they just named it The Division 2. Like, forget any type of taglines or making anything special. It's just 2. I do like the fact that it's going to be the same studio, which is okay. That's good for you. And to know it's going to be the same Snowdrop engine that did the first, that's powered the first game. So that's okay as well. I do like that the surprising thing is that the players will be able to carry over their progress from the first division. So I that's like the one thing I'm like, okay, you piqued my interest. The game itself, I'm like, bleh. But when they announced that part, my interest peaked up a little bit. And I think that it's really interesting and it's really great. I hope they don't screw it up and that it's not all buggy when it comes to that. So for me, I'm okay with it. I still don't feel anything, but I did like that one little aspect.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Adam Vale on WrestleCast and Throwdown. I know he's a huge fan of The Division, so I know he was very happy to hear this news.
But the first really wasn't that.
Well, yeah, it really wasn't really that great of a game, but I know that Ubisoft's goal was to make something similar to Destiny.
Right.
So they had some success. And then the one thing that I do give Ubisoft credit for is that they continue to find ways to still support these games and still make money and get players to jump back on. They did this with let me see. They did it with a couple of games. I know Ghost Recon is a game that people are still playing a lot of. Another game, Rainbow Six Siege. And even though I personally was very disappointed when they decided to cancel the Patriots game, I guess Siege is doing well. I have no interest in trying that game out whatsoever, so I will never know if it's actually a great game, but people are still playing it. They're still supporting it, so I have to give them props for that. So with the Division 2, I'm looking forward to seeing more on this game. Obviously, at their E3 conference, we'll see more footage. Maybe we'll get a better idea of what the sequel has to offer. I did not finish. I did not finish the first game. I'm gonna actually go back and play that.
Yeah, you have to, because even though it was like meh for me, like they did a lot of unique stuff with it that made it not a typical RPG game. And that's what I appreciate from that. So if we can take that and even up it a little more when it comes to the sequel, I think that it will be very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely need to go back and play it. I mean, I started playing it, and then I think there was a couple of other games that came out that piqued my interest, so I never went back to it. But I will finish it because I do have the like the whole all of the DLC, everything for it now. So I just need to make the time to actually play it.
And I'm also curious about the location, because I know the first one was like in Manhattan, and being that I'm in Manhattan and I know that, I get really excited for games set in the location that I'm in. So I wonder if they're going to move it to, another country or another state or even like somewhere else. That should be interesting.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, hey, I have no idea, but we'll find out soon. Again, E3 conference, we should get all types of news about this game, as well as what other titles they're working on, because Ubisoft is definitely working on multiple titles right now. But looking forward to seeing what it is, what it's all about. So I think that's it for the division talk for now. We'll definitely talk about it more once we have more information. So next up, this is a story I found very interesting. We definitely haven't talked about it. I know Gary wanted to say something on this. He's going to have to talk about it in a future show. But we need to talk about Valve, because this week, obviously, they had a preview event for a new game they are releasing called Artifact, which is a card game. But the news that came out of this event is that Valve pretty much confirmed that they are going to start shipping games again. And they also said that they are very jealous of what Nintendo is doing right now with the Switch. To use the quote that was given by Gabe himself, he says that they are going to start shipping games again, but they want to have the same approach that Nintendo has, which is they want to have a game come out with a system and be able to be played pretty much anywhere, which I found to be very interesting. I know that the Steam box, that was something that they released a while back. You know, just another option for people to play on consoles instead of PC, which is fine. But the fact that Valve is shipping games again, I was curious, what are your thoughts on this? Because, you know, they have Steam, so technically they didn't need to even start doing this stuff again. But what are your thoughts on this? And do you think that we may see a Half-Life 3 as a result of this?
Don't be thirsty. That's my thing. Don't look at other people and what they're doing and be so concerned about Nintendo. I like the fact that, you know, I don't know why you're shipping games when everything was on Steam and you made it accessible. You know, I can wake up at like 3 in the morning and like look at a game and be like, yeah, I'm going to get that game. And then guess what? I got that game right there. So that's the whole thing that I don't like about that whole part. The Half-Life thing, I think we could possibly get it now. I'm curious. You know, I don't like to jump up and get excited because, you know, I'm dead inside, but I am curious to see how it works out. And I think that we could get it. I'm like 50% yeah. But, you know, they're just parts of it that what Nintendo is doing works for Nintendo. Does not necessarily mean it's going to work for you. So I didn't understand the whole aspect of them shipping games, but if that's what they want to do, I know I still buy games like physical copies, so that's good for you. But at the same time, I think overall, wouldn't it just be more convenient if how you had it originally? I think their model worked for them. And when you start looking at other places and other people and what they're doing, it's not going to work. So that's my issue.
Well, I totally understand that. I think a lot of people have been wanting them to release games again for quite a while. They kept speculating, when are we going to get a Left 4 Dead 3? When are we going to get Half-Life 3? Now, the thing about that whole thing is that, I mean, it's fine for them to start doing games again. I'm totally fine with that. What I would caution people to remember, though, is just until something is announced, don't think it's coming, because just because they're coming back, let's not just assume, oh, we're definitely going to get a Half-Life 3 now. We're definitely going to get Left 4 Dead 3. From what I understand, one of the writers on Half-Life left the company not too long ago. So if we even get a Half-Life 3, it may be totally different as far as the concept, because of the fact that they will have to have a different writer working on the project. I don't know. But what I will say is that for right now, I do think it's interesting that they do want to come back. I find it interesting why they are choosing now as the time to really do games again, when they could have been doing games for the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's interesting. Now, the whole thing about being jealous of Nintendo, I do agree that, you know, you shouldn't be worrying about trying to copy, what another company is doing. Obviously, Sony and Microsoft are always doing this stuff back and forth. Like Microsoft decided to do, you know, enhance their Xbox Live subscription service and make it the exact same way PS Plus was. Well, it's going to be changing, of course, we know. But I mean, I don't really know if that's a wise strategy for them to really pursue that type of stuff. But if they want to release more games, go back to doing games, I'm totally fine with that. They have so much money that they make from Steam. So again, I'm glad that they are doing this, but I don't understand why they are doing it now when they could have been doing this for the last all this time. They could have been doing this stuff, but they decide now is the time we want to jump back into this market. So that's interesting.
Because of Nintendo, and probably they're not going to say it, but because remember that whole Battlefield 2 thing with the microtransactions and they get all that money and people still bought anyway, despite everything, that's a lot of money that they still raked in. So I think it has to do with money. You look at it now, you know, and you look at Nintendo. Nintendo was very popular and very successful, and then it went through that horrible downfall, and, you know, people were making fun of it and then everything else, and then it got back up to where it is today. And they seem to be leading the pack. Please don't come for me when I say that, but for me, they seem to be leading the pack when it comes to consoles. So they want in on that action. And for me, there's nothing wrong with wanting in on that action. There's nothing wrong with even being a little bit jealous of, you know, let that inspire you to be great and creative and innovative. But just don't get thirsty and try to overdo it. And try to catch up with what other people are doing. So if we get a Half-Life 3, great. If we don't, great. Give us something that's different and new. That is better than Half-Life. Work on that then. And, you know, just sit and have your hopes and dreams into one game, which is the Half-Life 3. Don't do that, people, because then you'll end up like me, still wanting No Mercy. And then you'll spend your dying days, you know, wishing for that No Mercy. So just focus on you. Don't focus on Nintendo, and do what works for you. What Nintendo is doing, guess what? They had to figure out what worked for them. And once they did that, they became where they are today.
I agree. Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything said on that. So we'll see what happens with this whole decision that Valve decided to make. I mean, I think it's interesting still, but I haven't really seen this Artifact game quite yet. I have to check it out when it actually comes out. It is a card game, so already not really that interested in any card games per se. But I mean, I don't know. I have to try it to see whether or not it's something that I will be into.
It's described as an ambitious digital trading card game since Hearthstone.
Oh, okay, Hearthstone. Yeah, I know about Hearthstone.
So if you're into that, you know, good for you. And many people are really happy for this, and they're happy for the game that's coming out. And I also know that it's inspired by Dota.
Okay, yeah. Well, in that sense, okay, yeah. I haven't played that game, and I'm not into Hearthstone, so chances are it's probably not a game for me. But we'll see. I'm always
by making the game play out on three separate gameplay boards. So it forces difficult decisions about where to place your 5 hero cards, and it include a whole bunch of different decks. And people can play whenever they want to, and, you know, they're excited about it. So you get to cast at least 40 spells on the card, and you get to trigger those attacks and buffs and so on. So, you know, regular card game. And many people are they're excited for this. And it also incorporates Magic the Gathering like rules and systems. So it seems to be a game of everything. And probably not original.
Well, hey, listen, they have their Steam platform, so pretty sure that they can push that. That's the one thing they have. Any game that they work on, they can promote it on Steam, push it through Steam. So they will still benefit from this. But again, you know, I don't really know if it's my kind of game, but we'll see. We'll see. Whenever they announce it, when it's coming out. I would assume it's coming out later this year. I haven't heard anything about any release dates, but we'll see. But wish them well, and looking forward to seeing what Valve does as far as releasing future software.
Yep.
So now we're going to move on to the main discussion for today, the main topic that everybody is talking about, although I don't really know why they're talking about it. And that is, of course, that Activision finally announced the worst kept secret so far this year, that we are going to get Call of Duty Black Ops 4 this upcoming fall. Now, the surprise of this announcement, it wasn't so much that the game got announced, but the release date of the game. It is coming out October 12th. Now, for those of you who don't know, Call of Duty games typically come out in November. And on top of that fact, we know that Red Dead Redemption is coming out at the end of October. So a lot of people are speculating to ask the question why they're releasing it in October. I do have a response to this, but before I answer it, Dana, let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for Black Ops 4, and what are your thoughts on it releasing earlier this year as opposed to in all the other years in the past when it came out in November?
I feel even more dead inside by that announcement. I literally feel nothing at all. And I know that the huge joke was that, Activision doesn't understand Roman numerals because it's 4 eyes instead of the 3 eyes and then the cross over it. But here's my thing. I think that's a clue. I think if you look at clocks like in like the Big Ben, that it's going to probably take place in London or in Italy. So for me, I think that's a clue. But I'm still dead inside. It can take place in Africa, and I still wouldn't care about this at all. And as for their release date, this is silly. This doesn't give any breathing room for Red Dead, and I think that they're going to probably just get steamrolled. So I think they was really feeling themselves and was like, yeah, we're going to do it on this. And everybody's going to be really excited and they're going to buy our game. And, we're going to be number 1 on top. It's like, no, Red Dead is coming out and nobody's going to even pay attention to you or your existence. So they shot themselves in the foot with that one for me.
All right. So, okay. So I agree with some stuff that was said. Let me just break down some of my thoughts on this. So first and foremost, with Call of Duty 4 coming out, yeah, I do agree with you when you said that it's a clue. I've heard a lot of people also say that in the Army, when you get certain medals, it is, they do use those numbers where it's the 1 1 1 1 1. So I mean, I don't know. It's a clue though to how the game is actually going to operate. I don't really know what the 4 is how it's going to be used. We have to wait and see what that's all about. But in any event, I have heard the rumors that it is going to be different from the other Call of Duty Black Ops game. Maybe it will not be a futuristic tone. Say what?
It's the same freaking war that we've been fighting for 100 times. It's different. There's going to be women in it. What exactly is going to be different?
Well,
I don't understand. World War II. Good Lord. We was fighting in space. Now we're back to World War II.
Well, hey, we'll find out in May when they actually do the reveal exactly what it's all about.
Freaking misguided. Good Lord.
So I mean, yeah, we'll see about that. But in terms of the release date, again, I know a lot of people have said, because Red Dead is coming out later that month, this is because of Red Dead, and I think that's a great argument. But I will also like to remind everybody of another argument that I think even makes more sense. Look at the fact that Battlefield 5 is also coming out this year. And Battlefield typically comes out in October. So I think, Activision looked at what happened with EA and what happened with Battlefront last year. And the fact that a lot of people still did not forgive EA for that. And they said, well, you know what? We're going to take advantage of this and we're going to release Call of Duty out the same month that this game is supposed to come out.
No. What people did was they announced, they got angry. Oh my God, I'm not. And they didn't. All they did was just had a whole bunch of voices saying we're angry, but their pockets and their wallets were still open, and they gave their money because that game was still number 1 for like a little while now. So no.
Well, I mean, I think that is because you had the Star Wars movie out also. So they were off that momentum. But then EA also, you got to remember, they took the microtransactions out of the game and then they just put it back in recently.
What even means they're still shady. They never cared about it. Oh my gosh.
Well, so, I think though, there's still some people that didn't. I mean, I know I didn't purchase Battlefront 2 at all. There's a lot of people I know who didn't buy the game because of the microtransactions, because of the ridiculous practices. So yeah, I understand that there are a lot of people out there that still bought the game, still did the microtransactions, but I do still think that EA's reputation, it definitely was hit by all of this stuff, you know, the public perception of the game, there is still some issues with that. So I think in terms of what they're doing to, you know, what Activision is doing releasing Call of Duty is that they want their game to get out front and center, so that it has opportunity to get more people involved. And again, that decision to release in October 12th. I mean, this isn't like when you release the game 3 or 4 weeks later, what they normally do every single year at the very beginning of November. They just decide, no, we're going to release it in October. And if I had to make a guess, when EA heard this announcement, they were like, oh, well, damn, now we really need to consider trying to get this game out before Call of Duty. I mean, EA has to be concerned about this, because Battlefield, they announced a long time ago the game is coming out this year. There's no information on what the game is going to be about, what it has to offer quite yet. It's all speculation. Oh yeah, World War II. Yeah, more than likely World War II. Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
But I mean, the whole thing about it is that, again, this is all coming out relatively around the same time, unless they decide to push it to September for whatever reason. We'll have to see about that. But I definitely think Call of Duty releasing it early, I personally think the game is still going to do very, very well. I know that Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out later in the month, but these are 2 different games for 2 different audiences. Call of Duty sold well last year, and that was because it was a World War II setting, because it was, you know, Sledgehammer Games working on the game. They did a fantastic job. So I think the game is still going to do well. But obviously, if it's a World War II setting, again, maybe then it will do better than if it was a futuristic setting, because the futuristic setting in these Call of Duty games, I am tired of that. That's a played out concept now. So they need to bring something fresh with this approach. So we'll see what they do. But it's Call of Duty. Call of Duty always sells. So I don't really think that this has anything to do with that. Like it's going to impact the sales because Red Dead is out. No, I think that both of those games are still going to do very, very well across the board. But I just found it interesting that they're releasing it before Red Dead and maybe before Battlefield, which I find to be very interesting because I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Humbug.
Yeah, so I believe that's it. Any other thoughts on this topic before we wrap up today's show?
Give me Bad Company, please.
Hey, you know what? I want Bad Company 3 very badly. I have no idea if they are going to do that. I think it will be great to get that, you know, a nice fresh, you know, return to that series. But I don't know what they're doing over at EA. Battlefield, though, is without a doubt that's the game they're focusing on. They already said it's the main Battlefield game. So unfortunately, Bad Company may not be coming out for a while, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But I believe that concludes our show for today. As I mentioned earlier with this broadcast, show is probably going to be a little bit shorter because we don't have all the others on the show today. They all have other things they had to take care of. But don't worry, they will be back. And as I said, we are going to have a couple other shows this week because I do have a couple of podcasts that I need to record before I go to GDC next week. Now, in terms of next week's show, I will still be here, but I will not be, I will be in California by then. So we'll be recording that at the same time, I would imagine. But stay tuned for that. We'll definitely talk about it. But Dana, are there any shout outs that you would like to give to close out today's show?
Shout outs to everyone in the chat and participating and talking with us, and everyone who listens to the show and everyone who listens later on. And shout out to anyone who can start a GoFundMe page for No Mercy and for Bad Company. Thank you.
That's a good one. We'll see about that. All right. I do want to give a shout out to everybody that was in the chat today. We had Ruthless Kid in there again. Shout out to Ruthless. We had H-Town in there for a little while. Shout out to you. Showwan W. Shout out to you, Miguel. Pretty much anyone that was in the chat. If you're watching live or listening later, we appreciate the continued support. I did want to announce our giveaway winner for Ni no Kuni 2. That actually goes to Him Deal. So thank you very much for your support, Him Deal. We will be contacting you about Ni no Kuni 2, and you can let us know which platform you want it on, whether it's PS4 or PC. We will be doing more giveaways. We did have a giveaway on the site this week for another game, another PC game. You can check that out on the site. I don't really know if we have any more codes left, but if you do want a code, feel free to let me know, and I will hook you up with the code. And as for our Patreon supporters, we want to give a special shout out to all of you guys. So that's M. Collins, Sean Gordy, Michael Hatcher, Stephen Ferron, Mauricio Aguilar, Him Deal, Fergus Mills, Lulawin Leslie, Nicholas Alvarez, Nick Biazzo, Miguel, and Mark. Thank you all once again for your continued support, and we'll talk to you all next week.